Too smooth that mud talking to have your ass in a wreck. Sign to get checked. Pussy better do what he says. We shutting down shows. Ain't gotta put no price in your head. Man, I'm coming for your tongue for all that shit that you said. Little politic and overrated. Quick to drop a.
You already know what it is, man. Gunner's Profiles. We're back at it. Like a motherfucking smack addict. This shit don't stop, man. To the bodies rocks, to the ice I stop to get hazy. Indubitably and indeed, yes, I wrote graffiti on the bus. We're going to get into our second profile right here on Gunner's Profiles, part of the Gunners Collective brand. The shit is not stopping over there, Gunners Collective. We're boom banging. We're keeping it riggedy rocking. You know what it is, not stopping. Too much talking. Trip out. So now what we're going to talk about, and everybody knows this character. You know, I've profiled him. I've not necessarily profiled him, but I've talked about him on my other channel, Gunners Collective. He's been talked about on several different channels, but this individual this motherfucker right here, no matter what anyone says about him, all I can say is, nah. Real talk, man. We're talking about Mauricio Badass Snoop Vasquez de Sacra, from the south of Sacra, right? We're talking about Badass Snoop. Now, everybody knows about him. There's been many, many stories told about this individual, and I'm about to profile the true warrior he once was and the type of individual he is now. Okay, and I'm not going to disrespect this man and take anything from him, and just adhere to this message that I'm speaking and the words that are coming out of my boca when I say this individual ain't nothing to play with. He's not no one to just walk all over and step on. You know, whether you agree or not with the movement that he pushes, and I totally don't endorse it or agree with it, it is what it is, man. And you got to understand, someone that has the philosophy and the words to flip this many mentalities and gain these many soldados behind him. His movement has to be real, right? It has to be something behind it. So the wind is blowing. I don't know. I can't call it like an alcoholic, but at the end of the day, we're going to speak on it. So now trip out. Badass Snoop. Story goes, this guy was once a solid norteño from the city of Sacramento, capital city, 9-1 sickness. You already know what it is. Stand up. Sacra. Now, I've spoken about the city of Sacra many times on my other channel, and I will say this. Sacramento is its own entity. It's its own lion. It's its own monstro, right? It's a monster. The capital city is not nothing to be slept on or played with. They are banging heads off over there. Hats are getting flattened. Tires are getting flattened. Solid-state flux capacitors are getting took, and Cadillac converters as well. They won't play with you in the city of Sacramento. So this guy growing up in the rough, rugged city of Sacramento, you know he had to have a little bit of thug in him. We might fight amongst each other, but I promise you this, we'll burn this bitch down, get us to orderly pot. So this guy's about his shit, or once was, okay? And growing up as a young norteño, just like any other one, he was striving in the city of Sacramento, and he was going through a lot of turmoil, okay? Again, like my first profile, the guy Cisco I just talked about, Badass Snoop was a little bit different. You know, this guy was about his paper. He was a D-boy. He wasn't initially a gangbanger like people think, that he was just some hardcore gang member. And people think that, oh, he was just some big old vato with a big old brocha and tattoos. Charlie, this about to look like a straight Backstreet Boy with the partners here. Orderly, new kid on the block. He wasn't like people think he is when they haven't seen who he is, okay? He's different. And I'm going to talk about the first time I ran into him. Now, the first time I ran into this individual was on a solid active yard, okay? And I remember first seeing him, and he was about the business, you know, but he wasn't with the structure. He wasn't with any dictation or being told what to do. He was always kind of doing his thing, man. If push came to shove, if the homeboys were ready to rock, if the norteños were ready to ride, he was going to be there. And this man had major hands, so he was going to sling them with the best of them. But at the same time, in the meantime, this vato wasn't into other men telling him what to do. Now, just like I said in my first profile, and I've said time and time again, when you're part of an organization, you're part of a group, you're going to listen to the next man. That's just part of it. It's what happens. Okay, but he wasn't going to be the one. Coming from that D-boy background, slanging all that dope that he was slanging, he was his own boss. He was his own man, okay? So no one was going to tell this guy what to do, and this guy has the fucking tongue of the tongue twisters. He's even better than me with the boca. The vato's better than with the gun. This guy knows what to say when he says it and how he says it, okay? He's a manipulator. He's able to manipulate the masses and manipulate people. He's into making people believe what he wants them to believe, because what he believes in his mind becomes reality, okay? Or so he thinks. So I was scared. This vato thinks he's Jesus. Straight up. He could walk on water and not get wet, I guess. But running into him, I thought he was a fairly cool dude. I mean, there was never no problems, never no beefs. It was kind of like a he said, she said, hey, what's up, beep, boop, 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 hi and bye. And that was about it. I went my way, he went his. Now, of course, I started hearing stories about a group, a dropout gang that formed called the Northern Riders. Okay, and this guy's name kept ringing bells, and this is what was behind it. So the story goes that in Tracy prison, this man found himself on a violation. Okay, or dispense a new case. And so he hit that yard. Now, his name was already in question, and I can't tell you exactly the reasoning behind. There's been some skepticism on my part with that story, because one person says that he was already in question for basically some weird stuff he was doing with somebody's family. Another person said he wasn't, in the hat. He wasn't fucking green lighted yet. He wasn't on ice or on freeze or under suspicion. And then I've heard from other people that he just got tired of the politics and just was like, I don't give a fuck anymore. Whatever the case may be, that's his truth. And he's not here to tell it, but I am. And I will say that he did hit that yard in DVI Tracy prison. And he got off on the active norteños. Solo bolo, like a sideways leaning cholo that ain't drink his V8. He handled his business, okay? Do I condone it? Do I say that it was a good thing? Chale. When you go against your own people, a red on red crime is a serious crime. I know, because in fact, I've done that. But when you go out there on that yard and you go against your people, it's probably a hard pill to swallow, knowing that your adversary, your opposition, your ops, your enemigas are your own gente that rock with you side by side. So indubitably, this guy did that. And the legend goes that this man was putting people on their pockets, putting people on their corduroys, putting people on their Levi's, right? On their Cavaricis, on their silver tabs, on their whatever they were wearing that particular day. This man wasn't no joke. And I can tell you right now that this man has been known to have hands. Every person that I've ran into that has talked to this man or knows this man will tell you that this man was born with Mike Tyson hands. Now, he doesn't look it, he doesn't act it, but he has it. Some people just got the gift of game and the gift of hands. This Vato was blessed with both. Okay, so upon doing this, automatically he's now no good. He's considered basura, trash, a degenerate, a defector. He's no good. Now, at this time, you got to understand that Badass Snoop was merely just a norteño, a northerner. He was never an NR member. He was never an hermano or part of a bigger organization. He was just simply a northerner or a norteño at that time. And he chose to take it upon himself to go out there on that yarda and rock and roll on the solo tip. And he did it. So he gets placed in K-Wing, which is the Oyo and DVI. And of course, he starts fraternizing with the people that are around him, mostly being dropouts, people that have defected for one reason or another. And this Vato formulates a plot and a plan. And the plot and the plan is simply this, that he's going to start his own group, his own organization, his own movement based on his beliefs and his feelings. And I don't know what happened, but Sasuke was like a YouTube channel that just blew up. It blew up overnight, and people started to like and subscribe to him, right? They started to believe that the intentions and the indoctrination that he was spewing out of his mouth was true and really real, and it took off. Now, at this time, you got to understand, administration was making several SNY yards, so this Vato felt that if for no other reason, these youngsters that were dropping out, that were scared to hit these GP or these main lines, or were in bad standings for one reason or another, were perfect for the picking. They were easily acceptable to the spit that was coming out of his mouth. And at the same time, man, they were young soldados he could mold like Play-Doh. And he did that. So his organization, his movement took fire, which has now become known as the Northern Riders. Again, here, Gunner's profiles. I don't endorse his shit. I never have been, never was one, never going to be one. But I don't disrespect them dudes at the same time. Because a lot of them are with that energy. A lot of them are with that business. A lot of them will get off where they're mad at. A lot of them will get off where, even if they're not mad, right? But anyway, so they started to take notice and started to take fire within the CDC and the administration, and they got labeled a security threat group. Now, the difference with one of the big four organizations and this organization was they were young, they were rambunctious, they were more inmates and not convicts. The difference between convicts and inmates is convicts are from the old school. They conduct themselves as such. They know how to conduct themselves within a prison setting on a yarda in a real righteous fashion, whereas inmates are a little bit loud, boisterous, they're new school. So I was scared. I'm not going to necessarily, they're telling on everyone or nothing like that. It's just the conduct is simply different, plain and simple, period. If you agree to disagree, then agree to disagree. But that's a fact of the matter. When the gun says it, it's real, because I only speak real talk. Anyways, so this Vato gets moved around. It seems like every yard that Snoop hits, he starts to recruit new members. He starts to indoctrinate these youngsters and get them believing, right? And it gets to the point where they start to parole. These individuals start to parole with this education that he has given them, which is a cold twist on a North play. What he did was he took the Northern words and he turned it on them, right? And he used some of the Northern influence to the best of his abilities to basically push his agenda, to push his movement. And these true believers and these people that were really behind him started to understand, started to believe, and they started to hit the calles, the streets, and they started to function as Northern riders and recruit individuals that never even had a chance to become a Norteño or a Sureño, oh my, or any other group faction. They just immediately went over there. So that's where the cold twist comes, where you hear Snoop spewing out of his mouth that we're active when we function, chale. They're derived from a dropout organization. Yet they do have members that have never been part of anything else that actively pursued being part of that. Okay, so that's where Snoop came in, and that's where you hear that he swears up and down. So I've talked to him personally. We're active, Charlie. We are. No, you're not. But we are. But no, again, you're not, right? Call it what you want. I call it real and I call it fake. Okay, but anyways, I'm not going to disrespect the man and say he's not about his business. Okay, now holding conversations with this individual is hard. It's hard because he's a firm believer in this movement behind him. This Bata has written books. He's wrote manifestos. So if you even know how to spell that. He's done a lot within prison to push his doctrine, to indoctrinate others into his beliefs. Okay, now, not everybody's a baboso. You see, someone like me who's been around the block in the 6'4", riding on 4 Daytons and not flats, knows what's up. I see the characters for what they are. Do I disrespect them and call them poop butts? Charlie, because at the same time, I know that anyone could squeeze and anyone could push, right? And it's all cool. And I respect that man, and I don't disrespect the man because a man is a man at the end of the day, period, plain and simple, no matter where he finds himself. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I have to adhere and conform to what he's talking about, just like none of you guys have to conform to what I'm saying. But that's good. Bang, bang. It's good shit. But I will say that Snoop, being who he is and being the type of individual, a lot of people are behind him. You know, again, with the light, with the shine comes the hate, right? You know me, the gun. I'm the most hated man in YouTube. You know, I get all the haters, I get all the shine, I get all the hate and the love and the love and the hate and the boop, 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 boop. At the end of the day, man, I got to keep rocking and rolling as myself. Be true to myself, be true to my gente, be true to you, the viewers that rely on me to give you the best content I can possibly provide. Whether it be on Gunners Collective, bang, bang, or right here on Gunners Profiles, my new channel, making it happen and making it Bangladesh. Now, Snoop himself was getting that shine. You know, of course, when I was active, man, this was one of the guys that was a 101 target, man. He was A1A. We wanted his ass. He wasn't A2B. I guarantee that. We were on him. If we could get to him, he was a trophy. You know, he was shining just a little too much, and we were trying to dim his lights. We were trying to shut down his shop. We were trying to tear his shit down. But of course, man, they kept moving this guy from SNYR to SNYR, and nobody was able to really get to this guy because we were active and we functioned, right? We were doing it on general population yards, but we kept hearing the mystique and the myths about this guy. And those of us that happened to have ran into him and knew of him, we knew that, of course, yes, he did have hands. Indubitably, he was down to do some crazy shit. But at the same time, he was a man just like I was a man. Okay, so now let's fast forward to the year 2018-19. What happens is this Northern Rider group is now very big. They number in over 3,000 to 5,000 members. They're on the streets. They're setting up their little regiments on the streets. They're starting to invade certain territories up north in Northern California. And I won't say Southern California because that'd be lying. I haven't heard about that yet. But in Northern California, they're setting up shops in cities like Merced, Salinas, San Gilas, certain areas, right? And I'm not trying to disrespect any gente from your city. I know you don't see them. I know they're probably not out at, but at night, they're creeping like some tweakers. Guaranteed them vatos are out with rabbits all over their face and shit. Again, people ask, why do they get the Playboy bunny tattooed on their face? Well, you got to understand that Snoop's father actually had the name Playboy, right? So he basically derived the Playboy bunny from his father's name and twisted it and Play-Doh'd it up and boop it boop. That's what you get, right? And that's what it's all about, I guess. Anyway, so the symbolization of these guys, you know, a lot of them get them behind their ears, their heads, their faces, their tongues, whatever the case may be. That's how they do it. And this is the movement that he pushes. Okay, and basically what they are is the adversaries to anyone who is active and they function. Anyone who is activated. Anyone who is down to push that general population mainline status, anyone who is down to really be about that gangbanging and be a part of an active organization, these guys are totally against. They strive to basically push against that. It's the pushback. They say they are oppressed, and it's a form of fight back for their oppression. Sasuke, I can't call it like an alcoholic. To me, it's just a whole bunch of guys that either couldn't hang or didn't want to hang with the bad guys. And Sasuke, they went over there and they think they're good guys. But of course, just like any other gang, what happens is they eventually turn into bad guys themselves. So they're involved in a lot of frivolous activity, criminal behavior. And of course, with all the shine being on Snoop and him being the so-called leader and the founder of this movement, bang. What happens? Indicted. He recently got indicted, and I did get in touch with them. Through a mutual friend, an active friend, and someone on his side that were actually blood related. They put me on the phone with this guy who was sitting in the LA County jail in Supermax, fighting a kingpin case. Basically, they were trying to get him on a federal indictment saying that he was the one that was pushing this movement. He was the one, and in fact, allegedly he was, and he ended up catching 65 years, right? And that's what happens. When you want to be the man and you want to eat that fruit from the tree, well, so let's get Adam, watch out. You done corrupted Eve, right? And now everyone's mad at you. And that is what happened. The light shined on him just a little too bright, and he ended up catching 65 years. A lot of his gente flipped on him, told on him. So it was that out the right there, man. Yep. The one with yeah, him. It was him. It was Snoop. And he got crossed out by his own gente. Of course, man, when you have people that are already derived from dropouts and they already got weird things on their jacket. What do you expect? Now, I'm not here to disrespect all Northern Writers, say they're all like that, because there's some real righteous individuals. They just happen to conform to that movement. They happen to be true believers, and that is up to them. Okay, again, I myself, I'm just a non-active Norteño, and I'm gonna proceed as such, man. I'm just gonna eat steak and carne asada and steak fries and carne asada fries. And that's what I'm going to do in my life. And I'm going to live merry and jingle bells, jingle all the way. You know what I mean? I'm happy. But on their side of the land and what they believe in is their progression, their push. And that was started by one Mr. Mauricio Badass Snoop Vasquez de Sacra. Now I met a lot of vatos from Sacra, a lot of active ass Norteños that have, man, they hate hearing that vato's from the city of Sac. But then I've met a lot that admire him. They somewhat admire him because they know that he's real. Regardless of what you or me may think, and regardless of that push that they push, we can't deny the fact that this individual has been rocking for many years. He's been down for quite a long time. He's going to be down forever. Will his movement dissipate, or will it keep leveling up? One never knows, does one. All I know is, man, the profile on Snoop is real. He's a real individual. I've spoken with them. Like I said, I couldn't squeeze one fucking word in. And with Gunn and him together, now you're in trouble. We couldn't squeeze one word in back and forth. Eventually, I hung up, and yeah, he held, right? And that was just it. Again, like I said, do I admire the individual? No. Do I respect the individual? I respect him as a man, but I don't respect his movement as a push, right? I don't disrespect it and I don't respect it. It's just, it is what it is. It's there. It's not, so be it. Anyways, with that being said, I hope that you move fast with a purpose. I hope, just like on Gunners Collective, that you get everything that you want coming to you. I'm here about these profilings. I'm here about the raza. I'm here about being real. Please like and subscribe if you like this. If you don't, you can hit it with the thumbs down. If you can't swim, you're bound to drizzle. You already know what it is. The Gunners Collective. Man, that about the Snoop is funny looking. Keep it real. Bang, bang.
Too smooth, that mud talking to have your ass in a wreck. Signing your check, pussy better do what he says. We shutting down shows, ain't gotta put no price in your head. Man, I'm coming for your tongue for all that shit that you said. Little politic and overrated, quick to drop a